What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to give you a quick overview of some of the current data points, what's been coming out associated to the company itself, and where I see things going from here. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 6.39%. Market's been open roughly about 2 hours. Very little volume though. So 8.4 million shares have been traded. 71.5 is the average. A lot of the volume being done today is either associated to shorts or just larger entities. So I feel like the big money out there or bigger market makers forgot to turn on the algorithmic trading today. So it's kind of funny ultimately how just the volume just massively drops. But aside from that though, big money isn't really getting into SoundHound as much as I would have anticipated, especially based on these price levels and what came out yesterday. So I'm going to talk all about that. So 3 transactions so far have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. So this has again diminished and is something to kind of be concerned about, especially in a momentum play. And just to give you a good representation of that, let's scroll down. So let's say the 28th as a good example. So these were some of the transactions, which even comparing it to a couple of weeks prior was night and day. Like almost 250 transactions occurred every single day on the secondary market. This filled up my whole screen. So as you can kind of see, I have 250 as a max. So essentially, big money has just been diminishing more and more, not really getting in. And so far today, like I said, it's just only 3. So big money is really not looking at SoundHound. And I think right now it has to do with more them not putting out substantial news. And I have signaled this in the past because the last news still came out on the 25th. At least they did rectify a lot of the insider selling. So maybe someone from the company itself has been paying attention to what shareholders have really been screaming, saying stop fucking selling. So again, that's kind of a positive thing. I know every time I do bring that up, I have a lot of people saying like, do you not know how to read a 144 or a Form 4? As I've signaled in the past, none of those forms did signal that it was for tax purposes. If it was for tax purposes, then yes, they get a pass, is not a big deal, but all of this was definitely a very big red flag. But beside the point, I'm not here to talk about that. Last video, I did talk about this prospectus, about the $150 million that they kind of just announced. And so essentially in this document, it does say right here, it's just going to be used for working capital and whatever else, dependent on the price that they do execute at and how many shares that they do get. Anything in excess of 55 million is ultimately going to go towards paying their term loan. And the reason why they use 55 million, I do believe that is how much they're burning through just based off of operations. So that's their standard. So this is definitely a very interesting play. So of course, by them doing all of this right here, this prospectus, it does signal that they need to, like, it's kind of worrisome. So in reality, they do need to get some stuff together. Of course, they just recently announced Stellantis, but I feel like they should be kind of marketing and approaching other big OEMs or other EVs. Even though things are kind of sketchy in that market right now, I feel like SoundHound could provide some good utility to those, I guess, automakers. So they definitely do need to get on to doing something sooner rather than later, just to avoid future dilution. So again, that's something to kind of consider. And maybe that is exactly why some larger entities and institutions are not buying. They're all about in 2024 kind of avoiding stocks that are going to be on the verge of heavy dilution. So maybe again, that's kind of linked together. So aside from that though, there was a analyst rating that did come out yesterday. So a $4.90 price target, as you can kind of see right here, upgraded. Cantor Fitzgerald, Brett, who does have a 43% success rating, which isn't all that great in my opinion, but obviously the market took it as a very strong positive, caused it to go up. But while I'm actually on here, just wanted to bring up that the Rule 201, so the SEC rule, is no longer triggered for SoundHound. Because last time I did give an update, they had this fun EX right here, similar to what Faraday has and currently Polestar has. So SoundHound has been, I guess, removed from their triggered list, essentially, which did limit shorts from increasing if a stock was to sell off more than 10%. So something, again, just to kind of keep in mind. But quickly moving on, looking at some of the other data points, starting off with options, $290,000 in calls being purchased versus 266 in puts, but sentiment wise, somewhat evenly divided. So 42% of all the options being done today are bearish, and of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around $5, and then looking at puts, you see a consensus for it to be sub 450. With today being Friday and a lot of these options expiring today, you are going to see market makers not want SoundHound to close above 450. So you're going to see a more artificial kind of restraint down, and they're going to be doing that through shorting. So right now shorts are increasing 103,000 shares, 18.95% of the free float is being shorted, and that works out to be 50.73 million shares overall are being shorted. Last video I did give an update on this, and it was at all-time highs. Since then it's gone down a little bit, and most likely that's attributed to the recent analyst rating, but still utilization is 98.25. So a lot of people are still very much getting into SoundHound due to, I guess, its squeeze ability, if that's even a word. But still, again, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that SoundHound will ultimately squeeze? And if so, how high do you think it could go as a result? So again, I think that's more of maybe a secondary topic to talk on right now. I think the primary aspect that SoundHound does need to focus on is just putting out news, but kind of all correlated behind the scenes. If you're looking at trading this right now with it at $4.47, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So even though $3.58 is a very strong support, has not really been tested over this last couple of days. So I think that's somewhat of a positive, of course. So it does show that SoundHound wants to go up, is just getting piggybacked and dragged down by the broader market and many things like that. So let me know your thoughts on how low you think it will go. Do you think it's going to touch this S2 right here, or do you think it's just going to continue to trend back into this S1 to the pivot? On the actual chart itself, it is right now lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, and like I signaled last video, it most likely is just going to be wedge bound between that 50 and 100-day moving average for the foreseeable future until SoundHound does put out a good piece of news and causes it to go up, or the broader market, due to larger fears, causes it to go down, which could definitely happen most likely in the next couple weeks as well. So something just to consider. Looking at stochastic though, you do see a nice bullish deviation, again linked to that recent analyst rating, caused a nice kind of resetting, if that makes sense, with their technicals, but it is still considered oversold at 13. So if there's again a good piece of news that does come out, then you should see a rush of big money getting in, value investors and so forth. Number of retail investors have been buying over this last couple of days, and so I think in reality SoundHound does have a lot of good potential, just it needs the company to get on board and be more engaging, but that's, who knows, I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And actually, while I'm over here, I just wanted to kind of bring this up. As far as the earnings, estimated earnings date is May the 10th, so this was just updated, I believe. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, make sure you guys take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the 𝗪𝗧7, $35 total value. So that is a pretty good return on investment just for throwing $100 at a new account. So make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this. Link in the description below or the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.